To survive in the wild, creatures are locked in constant struggles, fighting, eliminating, and seizing from one another. These are the most brutal battles of the animal kingdom, where the line between life and death is drawn by claws, fangs, and raw, suffocating power. Predators and prey, the never-ending battle. Across the vastness of deserts, grasslands, and forests, life unfolds without pause. Survival, reproduction, and death. Here, nature shows no mercy. There is no compassion, no law but one. The throne belongs only to those strong enough to keep it. From the icy shores of South Africa, where even a single rock can become disputed territory, to the sun-scorched plains of Africa, where roars shatter the skies, rulers always live in the shadow of danger. For in the wild, power is never permanent. To eat, to mate, to preserve their bloodline, every creature must fight, sometimes not against eternal rivals, but against their own kind, outsiders who come with the ambition to take everything. The sun sinks toward the horizon, casting golden light across the endless grasslands. At the heart of his territory, a dominant male lion rests beneath an acacia tree, his dark golden mane tousled after a day of patrolling. Nearby, lionesses and cubs sprawl in the gentle evening breeze. The ruling male possesses formidable biological weapons. His thick mane shields his neck like armor, reducing the impact of rival bites. His forelimbs are powerful, shoulders rippling with muscle, capable of delivering blows weighing hundreds of kilograms. Curved claws, 4 tonner long, razor sharp. Canines nearly 8 centimeters in length, backed by a bite force of 650 psi, strong enough to pierce the bones of large prey. A short but immensely strong neck channels nearly his full 200 kg of mass into a devastating takedown. From the edge of the territory, shadows emerge through the haze of dust. A coalition of younger, stronger, more agile males advances. They spread out in an arc, sealing off every escape route for the king. Sensing the threat, the old ruler lets out a thunderous roar, echoing across the plains. A warning, but it is already too late. Dust erupts. The king fights ferociously, every swipe tearing skin, every bite spraying blood across manes. But the numbers overwhelm him. The final roar of the king fades into silence. The lionesses watch from a distance, unmoving, uninvolved. By instinct, they understand. The order is changing. When the dust settles, the 3 victors stand tall. In the world of lions, this is an unchanging law. The stronger overthrow the ruler, claiming territory, lionesses, and the right to pass on their bloodline. The morning sun paints the vast savanna in golden hues. In the distance, towering silhouettes of giraffes appear among the acacia trees. Two males break away from the herd, slowly advancing toward one another. No roars, no brays, only heavy footsteps and piercing gazes. A male giraffe carries a body built for both feeding and fighting. Standing over 5 meters tall, they can reach foliage no other herbivore can touch. Their nearly 2-meter-long neck holds 7 vertebrae, the same number as humans. But each one can exceed 25 centimeters in length. The head is armed with 2 pairs of small, skin-covered horns called ossicones, made of dense bone like a steel mace. Immensely strong neck muscles connect to the spine and shoulders, enabling devastating, whip-like swings of the head. Long legs and sturdy hooves provide balance during the full-force neck swings. The giraffe's heart, weighing up to 11 kilos, pumps blood to a brain over 2 meters high, maintaining pressure to prevent blackout during sudden, violent movements. The two stand side by side, then suddenly lean, necks swinging like giant cranes. Whack! A skull crashes against its rival's ribs, the sound echoing like a mallet striking hollow wood. They shift tactics constantly, sometimes aiming for the flank to throw their opponent off balance, sometimes striking the neck to stun. At last, one falters, lifts his head and walks away, conceding the feeding grounds and the right to approach the nearby females. In the giraffe's world, power comes not from roars or claws, but from the mighty whip of the neck, a weapon honed by millions of years of evolution, forged to claim territory and to win mates. By noon, the sun blazes high, its light glinting off the water where a pod of hippos drifts into midday slumber. Just a few hundred meters away, the grassland stretches like a golden carpet. Here, a herd of zebras moves in file, clouds of dust rising with every hoofbeat. Zebras are famed not only for their striking black and white stripes. Each individual bears a unique pattern, like a fingerprint, serving both as identity within the herd and as dazzling confusion, making it harder for predators to single out a target during a chase. They are herd-dwelling grazers, led by a dominant stallion who defends and monopolizes breeding rights with all the mares. Beyond the herd, young bachelor males linger, waiting for a chance to challenge. Especially during breeding season, battles erupt, not only for territory, but for the right to pass on their lineage. The four legs of the zebra are powerful and agile, with especially strong hindquarters capable of delivering a kick forceful enough to shatter a lion's ribs. Their strong jaws and sharp incisors allow them to bite deep into an opponent's shoulder or neck. A young male enters the herd, neighing defiantly, his eyes fixed on the cluster of mares. The dominant stallion immediately steps forward, neck arched, ears pointed upright. They crash into each other in a flurry of chaos, hooves pounding the earth, teeth snapping, tails whipping violently. After only a few furious blows, the intruder loses ground, retreats, and finally flees, leaving the mares under the continued rule of the victor. On the Savanna, water is not only a source of life, but also territory. Every river or lake has its ruler. And in the lower reaches of the river, where the calm surface reflects the sky, unusual ripples signal the presence of the sovereign here, the hippopotamus. The hippo is among the most formidable semi-aquatic animals on Earth. Its massive body, weighing over 1.5 tons, contains almost no excess fat, just solid muscle that allows it to float with ease while also moving swiftly through shallow water. Its eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned high atop the head, enabling it to breathe and scan its surroundings while nearly its entire bulk remains submerged. When surfacing, its jaws can open to nearly 180 degrees, revealing canines up to 50 centimeters long, teeth not meant for grazing, but as lethal weapons. The hippo's bite force, measured at more than 1,800 psi, surpasses even lions and crocodiles, powerful enough to crush the bones of a buffalo. One dominant male has guarded this stretch of river for years. But today, a challenger rises from the murky depths, pushing boldly into the territory. At first, only short, sharp blasts of air hiss through its nostrils. Then the water trembles as the two colossal bodies surge toward one another. They open their mouths to the fullest, upper and lower jaws gaping like heavy gates. Crack. A massive chomp resounds, a deep thud reverberating through the river. White froth explodes on the surface. Each bite is punctuated by guttural bellows booming through the water. Muscles bulge, eyes blaze red, and they battle from riverbed to surface, driving away the herd of females and calves. At last, a crushing bite to the lower jaw forces the challenger to yield. Bloodied and beaten, it withdraws, leaving the river to its ruler. For hippos, water is more than home. It is the throne itself. Any trespasser who dares step into their domain without permission must pay in blood, or with their life. Hot winds sweep across the Indian grasslands. In the height of the breeding season, male black bucks stake out small territories to attract mates. This is also the time when younger rivals step forward to challenge the dominant males. Their spiral horns, reaching up to 70 centimeters, combined with powerful neck muscles, deliver brutal headbutts. Though slender, their legs are strong, quick to pivot in the middle of combat. A young male steps forward, locking horns with the dominant rival. After only a few violent clashes, he is thrown back and forced to retreat. The reigning male secures his breeding rights for the season. From the scorched fields of the interior, the horizon opens into the deep blue of the ocean. Along the jagged coasts of South Africa, hundreds of African penguins gather, their raspy calls echoing across the air. It is breeding season, a time when every square meter of rocky shoreline becomes priceless real estate. African penguins live in monogamous pairs, and each season they return to the same spot to build nests from pebbles, sand, and guano. The sturdier and higher the nest, the better the chances of protecting eggs and chicks. From the crashing waves. For this reason, males will do whatever it takes to claim or defend a spot, even if it means fighting. Though penguin wings cannot fly, their bones are dense and their muscles strong, delivering blows like heavy wooden clubs. Their sharp beaks serve both as tools for feeding and as weapons. With powerful legs, they hold steady on slippery rocks while grappling. One male returns from foraging to find his mate standing close to another. He charges immediately, flippers slashing, beak striking again and again. But within moments, exhaustion sets in, and he is thrown from the rocks, forced to retreat, leaving his mate to the rival. In Madagascar's dry forests, the sweet scent of ripe fruit and wildflowers drifts in the wind, signaling the arrival of an abundant season. It is also the time when female ring-tailed lemurs give birth, ensuring their infants grow during the safest months. These primates, unique to the island, are easily recognized by their tails, longer than their bodies, banded with 13 to 15 black and white rings. They live in matriarchal societies where females lead the groups and dominate feeding grounds. Mothers often carry their young on their backs or bellies, moving together in tightly knit troops. This season, fruiting trees are clustered in a few limited patches. Such hotspots become contested territories. The lemur's most unusual weapon is scent. Glands on their wrists and shoulders produce powerful odors, which they rub onto their tails and then wave toward opponents. A ritual stink fight to display strength and intimidate rivals. Two troops converge on the same fruiting grove. From afar, striped tails rise high, flicking back and forth. Pheromones thicken the air. Harsh cries pierce the silence as mothers clutch their infants tightly, eyes locked on their adversaries. When scent duels fail to deter, the dominant females lead the charge. Leaves scatter, teeth flash, claws rake across fur and skin. The skirmish is brief but ferocious. Within minutes, the weaker troop flees, leaving the grove to the victors and their young, clinging firmly to their mothers' backs. From the melting snows of mountain peaks, torrents of water surge into valleys, carrying with them thousands of salmon fighting upstream to spawn. Along the icy rivers of North America, massive figures appear, the grizzly bears, absolute rulers of the salmon season. This bear can weigh over 300 kg, its body covered in a dense, insulating coat with claws more than 10 centimeters long, curved and razor sharp, perfect for hooking fish or tearing flesh. Its heavily muscled shoulders form the signature hump on its back, giving it the power to unleash devastating swipes. Its sense of smell is hundreds of times more sensitive than that of humans, allowing the bear to detect food sources from great distances. The salmon run provides an immense nutritional windfall, but it also sparks fierce clashes among adult males. Whoever controls the richest stretch of river gains the best chance of surviving the brutal winter ahead. One male stands atop a rocky outcrop, pulling in salmon after salmon. From downstream, another approaches, growling low. Without lengthy warnings, both rear up on hind legs, fur bristling, before lunging into combat. After only a few bone-crushing swipes, the weaker male loses balance and retreats. The victor returns to his stretch of river to resume fishing, while the defeated drifts away to search for quieter waters. From the sun-scorched savannas of Africa to the cracked, dry plains of India, the rocky coasts of South Africa, the dry forests of Madagascar, and the frozen rivers of North America, the essence of life remains unchanged. The battles we witness, lions overthrown, giraffes swinging necks, hippos clashing underwater, zebras kicking, antelopes locking horns, penguins fighting for nests, lemurs defending territories, grizzlies contesting rivers, are never born of hatred. They are driven by the most primal of motives: securing food, defending territory, holding mating rights, and passing on genes to the next generation. In the wild, strength is not measured by muscle or biological weaponry alone. It is also cunning, the ability to read the moment and sometimes patience to wait for the perfect chance. But whatever the path, only the victor has the right to write the next chapter of their species' evolution. And there, amid nature's grandeur and cruelty alike, the law of the strong remains eternal.
The baboons do not retreat. The lions do not give in. What lies behind this seemingly impossible encounter? Kenya, the fierce encounter between baboons and lions. Kenya, where the bold dare to challenge the ruler. Under the endless sky of Africa, Kenya appears as the wild heart beating in the middle of the dark continent. A land where the sunlight not only shines, but burns, where every breath of wind carries the ancient breath of life and death. Kenya is not just a place for wild animals to survive. It is a place where every moment is a harsh challenge. There is no chance, no room for error. And it is here, in the midst of the grasslands, in the silence as tense as a bowstring, a confrontation is quietly forming. in the wild savanna of Kenya. Baboons are one of the creatures best adapted to the harshness of nature. With shaggy gray-brown fur and sharp eyes that watch every move, baboons are not only famous for their agility, but also for their incredible intelligence and organization. As omnivores, baboons have a diverse diet, from grass, fruit, roots to insects and small animals. But sometimes, when food becomes scarce, their survival instinct pushes them into the role of predators. And young impalas become a risky choice. On the low grasslands near the edge of the forest, the early morning sunlight filters through the thin mist, dyeing the dusty gray fur of the baboons moving silently. There are no more chirping or jumping sounds. Ahead, a mother and baby impala are separating from the herd. Impala, a graceful, distinctive antelope with shiny golden brown fur. Large, alert eyes. Slender legs are designed for high jumps and graceful sprints. The baby must stand up, move and hide within minutes of birth. The ability to hide from predators is not a choice, but a prerequisite for survival. The male baboon quietly approaches from behind, using every bush for cover. Suddenly, the baboon charges forward. He grabs the tiny impala with both hands. By the time the mother impala senses danger, it is already too late. The mother impala runs around helplessly, making desperate cries, but she can only witness her baby not being able to live. They end the hunt with a full meal and fun. Those who seem to eat only fruit can become ghosts of the vast grasslands. As a species with complex social organization, their mating and reproductive behavior also clearly reflects this order. In the herd, the dominant males often have priority access to females in heat. When ready to mate, the female baboon will display a red and swollen area around her buttocks, a strong signal to attract males. However, the dominant male does not always win the opportunity. Younger males sometimes succeed first, thanks to their ingenuity. After about 6 months of pregnancy, the female baboon gives birth to a single baby, rarely twins. The baby is cared for by the mother, often clinging to her chest for the first few weeks. The whole troop may participate in protecting the baby, especially males who have a close bond with their mother. The breeding cycle is about 1.5 to 2 years apart, depending on living conditions and food sources. After many weeks of tireless care for their babies, the baboon troop finally has a precious moment of peace. The bright sunlight shines on the grassland, covering every blade of grass in gold. The babies are held close to their mother, eyes half closed in a peaceful sleep. It seems that all danger is behind them. But Kenya never lets a survivor rest in peace. A pair of cold, deep eyes watch the baboons from afar. It was the gaze of someone who was in no hurry, because he knew for sure that the end would always be his. The ruler of the Savanna. The lion, the predator with a muscular body, strong shoulders and muscles bulging under its dark golden fur. Each step of it seemed to pull the weight of the entire ecosystem. A muscular body, strong shoulders, dark golden fur shining in the sun. Each step of it seemed to make the ground echo with invisible echoes. A pride of lions is a clearly organized social structure where the females play a key role. The lionesses are the main hunters and hunt in groups. Their prey is herbivores. When the weather is dry and food sources are scarce, lions switch their targets to less common species, including baboons. For lions, any creature that can feed the herd can become prey. The low grass bowed slightly, as if bowing to an invisible force. The air was thick, tense like a drum about to break. From afar, the silent figure of a lioness was approaching step by step. No need to roar, no need to rush. Just her presence was enough to make the prey stop breathing. This time, the encounter was full of surprises. The sharp howl rang out. The baboons panicked. They realized that they had gone from hunters to prey. The lion shrank, rushing out like a lightning bolt across the grass. A baboon had fallen. It had become prey for the lions. Silence reigned. Today's meal was part of the guarantee for the future of the young lions that were growing day by day. In another place, far from the hunt, a pregnant lioness quietly sought a place to hide. She was preparing for an upcoming birth. The female lion is pregnant for about 110 days. When it is time to give birth, she separates from the pride and finds a secluded place to give birth. Each litter usually has 2 to 4 cubs. During the first weeks, The mother takes care of her cubs alone, hiding them from all threats and strange males in the pride. When the cubs are stronger, they are brought back to the wild rhythm of the savanna. It is moments like the recent hunt, though brief, that are the foundation for the survival of the pride amidst fierce competition and the cruel beauty of nature. Kenya continues to cycle as if nothing had happened. But in the newly turned grass, life is nourished by death. The lion walks, carrying not only strength, but also a legacy of instinct, bloodline, and the indomitability of the ruler. But Kenya is not only the violence of the dry savanna. Where life finds another flow. The African otter. It brings a different rhythm of life. Gentle, agile, but no less fierce. With a long, flexible body like the water they are attached to, thick, smooth, dark brown fur that not only helps keep warm but also has excellent waterproofing ability. Otters are like shadows gliding on the surface of the lake when swimming. Otters do not live alone. They exist in small families, usually consisting of parents and offspring of many different litters. The bond within the group is extremely tight. The diet of otters is mainly fish, crabs, frogs, and sometimes water snakes. They hunt by lurking underwater, using sharp teeth and extremely fast reflexes to capture prey. In the midst of that peaceful scene, a family of otters was enjoying a rare moment of leisure. They swam nimbly, gliding like soft arrows under the water. But below the water, a dark shadow was slowly crawling. An adult crocodile was hiding in the murky water. With its rough skin like ancient stone and its yellow eyes always half open above the water, it was the embodiment of time and patience. The crocodile is the largest reptile in Africa, possessing a bite with enough force to crush its prey in an instant. The crocodile waited patiently. There was a baby otter that separated from the group for just a moment, gliding near a clump of quiet waterweed. It did not know that, right next to it, a giant dark shadow was quietly drifting close to its body, patient, cold and ready to strike. Suddenly, the water surface broke. A lightning-fast charge. The crocodile opened its jaws and bit straight at its target. But this time, it missed. The splashing sound alerted the herd. Without panicking, the adult otters immediately turned around to surround the predator. They bit and thrashed, making threatening noises. Despite their overwhelming strength, the crocodile could do nothing against such a small, tightly knit group. After a few seconds of struggle, it was forced to dive, retreating into the deep water. A failed ambush. Because here, courage is not about size, but about unbreakable solidarity. As dusk fell over Kenya, the savanna gradually sank into silence. Lions rested with their cubs, their eyes softening after a long day. A pack of baboons huddled under the canopy, quietly tending to the scratches from the encounter. Under the cool water, the otter family wrapped themselves together. Snuggling in the middle of the gentle river, here, there are no absolute winners, nor eternal losers. There is only the endless cycle of life. Every moment is woven from the interaction between strength and intelligence, between survival instinct and the silent presence of kinship. In that world, life is nurtured not only by food, but also by connection, flexibility, and the ability to adapt to the constant changes of nature. If you are caught up in the breathless chases, the seemingly small moments of life and death carry the weight of life. Subscribe to the channel to continue exploring the wild world, where every breath contains an untold story.
Ethiopian survival, the revenge of the Baboon clan. On the sun-baked crags of the Ethiopian highlands, the wind blows through the crevices, carrying the scent of dry earth and the dull roar of a crumbling world. There, amid the chaos of the baboons, a child witnesses the unthinkable, the death of his mother, not by one of his own kind, but by the fangs of a jungle predator, the leopard. The Ethiopian highlands are covered in a thin mist. The wind blows through the bushes, carrying the scent of dry earth and the sporadic sounds of early morning. A flock of francolines digs through the leaves for worms, then soars as the baboons' cries echo from the canyon. Timu is a baboon a few months old, just learning to forage and climb, abandoned by his own group. His mother has long since died, killed by a hunter. Wandering alone among the rocks and thorns, Timu came across a few other abandoned males. At first, they were wary, but then, in the cold and hunger, they learned to share every fruit. Shade and warmth. In the wild, a small group began to live together not for friendship, but for survival. Years passed. No one taught Timu how to survive. But that was what made him different. From a weak cub abandoned by the pack, Timu gradually became a tough individual. His body was toned over time. His eyes became as sharp as broken stone. Fear no longer made him tremble, so Timu quietly observed and remembered everything. No one thought Timu would survive. But among the thorns and the lurking predators, he still lived. Timu learned to follow food trails, to avoid the claws of enemies, to choose the safest shelter to spend the night. Once, his whole pack was noticed by a lioness. That amber gaze followed them for days. That yellow figure often appeared at dusk, forcing Timu and his companions to change their travel and foraging habits. But this very danger trained them to have a warrior reflex to communicate wordlessly with their eyes, coordinate their actions in silence. and always be ready for the worst. In Timu's mind, the death of his mother never faded. It was not just a memory, but a goal. But before he could take revenge, Timu knew he had to be strong enough and change a world that was rotting from within. Every wound, every cold, sleepless night, every time he was almost torn apart, all of it tempered Timu into a different individual. Tough, intelligent, and dangerous. While Timu gradually took shape as a warrior among rocks and thorns. In the sea there also appeared a creature living with wisdom and resilience. Down a valley from where the monkeys had set up camp, as the night fell like a thick velvet blanket, a low, shrill laugh rang out. Not happy, but full of meaning. It was the distinctive laugh of the brown hyena, a mysterious and often forgotten creature among the prominent predators. Among them, Naka stood out, a female hyena who had lived long enough to see 2 generations of baboons change their thrones. Naka was not as large or as prominent as the lion rulers, but she had something that Timu was only just learning, the patience of a hunter. Naka was not only a ghost among the rocks, she was also a bold opportunist in places where others rarely ventured, the salty, cold winds of the Ethiopian coast. The sun was high in the sky. The sea reflected the harsh sunlight, casting bright patches of light on the rocks. Large male brown seals lazed on the rocks, yawning and occasionally growling as they fought for a spot to bask. Not far away, baby birds just a few weeks old with pale spotted fur were sleeping near the water's edge, carefree amid the murmur of waves and salty sea breeze. That was the moment Naka had been waiting for. Then the attack began, quick, clean, and precise. Crossing the quicksand, past the low thorn bushes along the shore, Naka suddenly stopped. The hair on the back of his neck bristled. The wind changed direction and carried with it the scent of the one he did not want to meet. The black-backed jackal. Naka rushed out of the low bushes, across the slippery edge of the rocks like a silent whirlwind. A snap, a soft, wet sound. The mother's startled cry was drowned out by the sound of the hyenas tearing through the air as they retreated. No fire, no long chase, just a precise blow and a full meal for her pups on a chilly afternoon. From the distant rocks, Naka stood silently looking down at the beach. The water shimmered silver, as if nothing had happened. But for him, the coastal area had become a new extension of his territory, and no one but the patient and silent one was allowed to rule it. As the twilight stretched across the sand, Naka entered the mouth of the cave where the small eyes were shining brightly. The jackals had retreated, and Naka had brought back a full meal for his children. A bloodless but heroic victory. While Naka's children slept warmly among the cold rocks, deep in the heart of the arid plateau, another society was slowly becoming unstable. Reka's baboon troop continued as if nothing had changed. But the wind was different. No one in the troop dared to say it out loud. But the smell of burning grass, the rustling of leaves, and the increasingly quiet eyes of the females all told him that something was approaching. Reka, though old, was still a notorious tyrant who seemed not to notice. He still sat on the high rock that had been his invisible throne for so many years. His black mane was already streaked with silver, but his eyes were still fierce. He growled when a young male got too close to a female, baring his teeth in a threatening manner, despite his knees not being as strong as they once were. For Reka, dominance was not based on physical strength, but on the bloody memories the pack had not forgotten. Until one morning, a small noise from the edge of their territory made several young males raise their heads. A shadow appeared, not exactly strange, but not familiar either. It was Timu. No longer the weakling that had been chased away years ago. He had returned, larger, more muscular, his eyes as sharp as broken stone. And he was not alone. Behind him were other males, each bearing the marks of a life outside the law. The pack fell silent. Reka looked down from above. For the first time in many breeding seasons, his eyes were not filled with anger, but with consideration. Raka's fierce roar cut through the air like a knife. And then he pounced after overthrowing Raka. Timu did not re-establish tyranny. He shared influence with his allies, let his children choose freely, and used prestige rather than fangs to lead. The monkeys gradually entered a period of stability, knowing for the first time what peace was. But in nature, peace is only a thin shell that hides danger. From the edge of the forest bordering the plateau, a pair of yellow eyes flashed in the darkness. No sound, no signal. Not a hyena, not a jackal. It was a leopard, the one who had killed Timu's mother years ago, and it was waiting. Moru's name was like the wind whistling through the canopy. A female leopard, not as large as the male of her species, but faster, more discreet, and more ruthless than any hunter in the forest bordering the plateau. She was not just a hunter. She was a mother. 3 weeks ago, Moru gave birth to a cub in a windproof crevice in the rocks. The cubs were too young to follow, their eyes still misty and hungry. Every infantile screech from the den was a reminder to Moru that he could not fail. He could not return empty-handed. He could not let the enemy find his way. Above, the dry forest stirred in the early morning breeze. Dry leaves rustled beneath the feet of a herd of antelope, slowly approaching the edge of a shallow stream to lick salt. Nearby, striped mongooses reared up, taking turns keeping watch as their smaller flocks foraged for insects. Their screeches, scratches, and occasional catches sounded like a warning soundtrack. Further on the high rocks, vultures lined up, their eyes trained on the area where Timu had just established his power. They did not land, but they did not leave, for they clearly sensed the unrest that still simmered beneath that fragile layer of peace. In the midst of these layers of activity, Moru quietly slipped through the low canopy, her body as soft as water, following the roots of the trees and the terrain. She did not interrupt the rhythm of the forest she was part of. No species is alone here, and all are linked in an invisible tension. When the antelopes are frightened, the mongooses are silent, and the vultures begin to stir. It is the moment when death passes quietly. The afternoon falls on the Ethiopian plateau. The last light of the day spread thinly like a hazy golden dust. The rays of light slant across the low grass, illuminating every tree trunk, every stone, every damp footprint. In the open space between the trees, Timu's baboon troop rests in the late afternoon light. The young lie near the shallow roots. A few females scatter to find food. In the distance, the darkness from the west is gradually covering the land. Moru, stalking close to the ground, his body blending into the light brown grass. The wind is favorable. He does not hide in the trees. He does not need to. For leopards, if the ground is flat enough, the light is bright enough, and the baboons are loose enough, height is not needed, only distance and timing. But this time, what he thought was an opening was a trap. Timu had been waiting for this day for a long time. He smelled the trail, felt the unusual silence in the grassland. And for the first time, the baboons did not run. The fight ended quickly and bloody. Moru could not escape. When he fell, Timu was the one who stepped forward. His eyes not angry, just cold as the mountain rocks. He did not need to scream. He did not need to show off. He just looked down, then turned away so that the others could finish off their old enemy. In the thick darkness of the Ethiopian highlands, where life does not allow for romance or forgiveness, a blood debt was finally paid. And Timu, who once did not deserve to live, now became the one who rewrote the rules of survival with his own wounds. How do you feel about survival stories? Remember to leave a comment below the video. Hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next wild stories from the amazing natural world.